What is up, Hot Wheels racing fans? You're watching the NASCAR Nitro Series on the HSL Diecast Racing channel. And today we're at Texas Motor Speedway for the Chiefs and Cowboys Suck 400. And today we got a show for you. There's no fence on the track. Cars might leave the track on the outside lane. And if they hit Jerry Jones' truck, they get moved all the way up to the pole position round, plus 31 additional bonus points for each year of the Dallas Cowboys Championship drought. And to kick it off, we're going to start with our points leader, Amber Beach, going up against Blaze Thunderstruck. And now the gates are down. Amber Beach flies away from Blaze. They both complete the lap, but it's going to be Amber Beach that locks herself in with the win. And now it's Chewy going up against Misty G. Misty G with a 2-car length lead. Chewy bins it coming out of turn number 1. That's a hard DNQ. And now Stacy Compton misses a shift coming out of the start gate. Coffee Tart runs away with it. I don't think Stacy Compton's going to finish the lap. He stalls out about 2 track segments before the finish line. Now let's see how many DNFs, see if he still gets into the B Series race. And now the gates are down for Harry Hoon and Yorn. Yorn is also going to DNF in around that same spot. We have to see how many more people stall there to determine who's going to get into the B Series race. And now Atomic Bob runs away from Tails, but Tails still finishes a lap as well. And now we have Bobby Allison going up against Slick Fitty in the number 41. Bobby Allison takes it. Now let's see if Gaza or Fuel Tank Frank can take this lap. Once again, Gaza running away by more than a track segment. Fuel Tank Frank barely finishes the lap. And now we're going to see Flip Gambino going up against Rory. And Flip Gambino stalls out in the middle of the track. Rory doesn't even reach him. That's a double DNF. They'll be lucky to get into the B Series race. And now it's time for Bishop Petty Jr. going up against Gavin McSpadge. And that's an El Reco for Gavin. Hard DNQ. And up next we have Deuce Andretti going up against Sloppy Bear. This time it's going to be Deuce Andretti going to take it and lock himself into the big race. And now we have Skeeter Davis going up against Sparky Racer. Skeeter Davis by a track segment makes easy work of Sparky Racer. And now we have RJ McCready doing the same thing against the Luca Yode Osisanya. RJ McCready rolls back to try and block the number 2 F-150. Now we have Lucas Sattler Jr. going up against the 17 of Cyan for Sloppy Bear Racing. It's going to be Lucas that locks himself in. And now we have Cyan's teammate Gray. Had a great season last year. This year he's struggling to get into the B Series races. Gets handily beaten by Remy 12 Gauge. And now we have the defending modified champion Burt Buzzard facing Skid Mark. And it's going to be Burt Buzzard by a track segment. And up next we have Gale Force, winner at this track last year, going up against Normal Ruby in the number 20. And it's going to be Gale Force that takes it. And now Thomas Elliott going up against Ruby's Sloppy Bear teammate Kenzie in the number 11. Thomas Elliott with a 4-car length lead, and Kenzie bins it. It's a hard DNQ. And now the video for Racer Gnome and Baby Richie somehow got corrupted. That really sucks. Well, Baby Richie won, but Racer Gnome also finished the lap, got himself a decent spot in the B Series race. And now it's time for Baby Richie's teammate Riot Isaac to go up against Carl Recco. Beats him by about half a track segment. And now we have Ted Musgrave for Uncle Elvis Racing going up against Violet for Sloppy Bear Racing, one of his returning drivers. And Violet will stall out on the track short of the finish line. And now we have Cooter Smith going up against Zard, also for Uncle Elvis. And it's a very close one. And now take a look at this replay frame by frame. It's going to be Zard by a single bumper length, 2 millimeters at most. And Zard's going to be locked into the race. Cooter Smith into the B Series race. And now it's time for Gail to go up against her in-laws racing teammate, Twinkie Jake. And it's going to be Gail that has the advantage. And now we have another Uncle Elvis driver, Rowan, going up against Lazy A. And Rowan bins it. Rowan flips over onto his roof. He's going to DNQ. As you can see in the replay here, he's still on his side when Lazy A pushes him across the line. That does not count if you're already on your side. That's a DNF. Rowan will miss the race. And now it's time for Po' Boy to go up against Karate Joe. They're side by side through the first turn, but it's going to be Po' Boy that takes it at the end. And now Gator McCluskey going up against Jeff Bodine. Gator McCluskey, a blowout win, more than a track segment's margin. And now we have John Trent going up against JJ Smooth. Side by side heading into the split turn, it's going to be John Trent using that inside to his advantage. And now look at Murray getting the jump on Lucky Jackson, but he can't hang on for the upset. Lucky locks himself in. And now we have Ratha going up against Skidis Marcus. They're side by side. Ratha throws a block, barely crosses the line. Skidis Marcus slides short of the finish line. And now we have Puff going up against Ski Bob. Ski Bob DNFs. lands on his wheels. He'll be stalled at the middle of the track. And now Johnny Benson going up against a Luca Yode Osisanya. An easy win for Johnny Benson. And now we have Dick Trickle going up against Sterling Marlin. Two NASCAR veterans. It's going to be Dick Trickle with the advantage. Sterling Marlin bins it. That's a DNQ. And up next, we have the Abby Normal teammates of Kid Charlemagne and Thunderbolt Joe. Thunderbolt Joe ends up on his roof. That's a DNQ. Charlemagne locks himself in. And now the small cars of Uncle Elvis. Jim Douglas gets a run on Richard Petty. Richard Petty flies off the track. That's a DNF. And now we have our 1 seed Cowell Petty. And he stalls on the track. He bins it but recovers in the middle of the track. He'll be starting near the back of the B-Series race if he even gets in at all. And now we have J-Bo going up against Rick Mast. Rick Mast bins it. He's on his side. Hard DNQ for Rick Mast. And up next, it's Sawyer going up against Donald McSpadge. Donald McSpadge off the track and on his roof. Sawyer locks himself in. A lot of cars binning it on the outside lane the last couple laps. And Johnson Jr. is no exception. He stays on the track, but he's still on his roof. Hard DNQ for him. Now we have Kyle Petty going up against Abby Normal. And Abby Normal flies off the track, hits the police car, not Jerry Jones's truck. And now let's see if Nomeo can break this streak. William gets the jump on him. A full car segment lead. Nomeo finishes on his wheels, locks himself into the B-Series race. And now we have Marcus Skidis going up against Jimbo Rockford. And Jimbo almost loses it, but keeps his composure, stays on his wheels. And now we have Bubba Wallace going up against Russ. And it's a bad day for Russ. He lands on his wheels, but he'll be starting towards the back of the B-Series race. And now we have Morgan Shepherd going up against Lord Shank. Lord Shank bins it. Hard DNQ for him. And up next, we have Vinny Nightlife. And he's going to party his way to the bottom of the track, leaving Elias in the dust. Locks himself into the race. Elias will have to wait and see how many more cars stall out on the track before the B-Series race. Now Killa Kowalski with quite a lead over Tristan. He stalls on the track there. Tristan has to race his way in now. And we have William Byron flying away from Crazy Ruby. He's going to bin it. Crazy Ruby, 45th in points, locks herself in. And here are the cars on the track that stayed on their wheels. Looks like we have plus 13 that didn't finish but remained on their wheels. So we're going to have 30 cars in the B-Series race. The three highest seeds to finish the lap in second place were Karate Joe, Tails, and Jeff Bodine. So they're going to get themselves into the big race. Meanwhile, here's your starting lineup for the B-Series race. Cowell Petty, your number 1 seed, will be starting the B-Series race in last place after flipping over but recovering in the middle of the track. And all of you guys are going to see this B-Series race later on in the video, but let's finish up pole qualifying first. And we have Amber Beach going up against Karate Joe. Amber Beach flying away, but Karate Joe hits Jerry Jones's truck. That's 31 points plus a spot in the pole tournament. We moved his truck around for the second round now that everybody's locked into the field. And up next, Misty G flies away from Tails. And now we have Coffee Tart going up against Jeff Bodine. Coffee Tart on the inside beats Jeff Bodine by a track segment. And up next, we have Harry Hoon going up against Jimbo Rockford. Both of these guys got to watch their teammates stack up win after win last season, while they're both still looking for their first, and Jimbo Rockford almost loses it there, and Harry Hoon moves on to the round of 24. Now we have Atomic Bob going up against Lazy A, Ford versus Chevy, and Atomic Bob doesn't clear Lazy A there, but Lazy A almost bins it as well, and that leaves Atomic Bob to run away with it. And now we have two Nitro Series veterans, Bobby Allison going up against Crazy Ruby. They're side by side heading into the split track, and it's going to be Bobby Allison by less than a car lane. And now it's time for Gazza to go up against Killa Kowalski. Gazza won 2 races last season, but Killa Kowalski's giving him the fight of his life. They're side by side heading into the split turn. Killa Kowalski ends up on his side. Gazza runs away with it. And up next we have Big Bishop Petty going up against Vinny Nightlife. Bishop Petty easily sails on to the round of 24. And now let's see if Deuce Andretti can do the same. He got a top 10 finish in the Daytona 500 after a poor speed weeks. He's running away from Morgan Shepherd now. That'll punch his ticket to the round of 24. And now we have Skeeter Davis going up against Bubba Wallace. The gates are down. Skeeter Davis with about a car length lead heading towards the bottom of the track. Bubba Wallace gets a little squirrely there. Doesn't have enough time to catch up to Skeeter Davis. Now we have Marcus Skidis going up against RJ McCready. RJ running away with it, but no, they both bin it, flying off the track. That's a double DNF. Now the highest ranking second place finisher is going to get himself back into the round of 24 by virtue of that double DNF. Meanwhile, William Binzett falls short of Jerry Jones's truck. And now we have Remy 12 gauge going up against Kyle Petty. Remy 12 gauge, 2 car length lead heading into the turns. Gets a little squirrely there, but manages to hold on and blocks Kyle Petty crossing the finish line. And now we have Kid Zach going up against your defending modified champion, Burt Buzzard. Kid Zach flies off the side of the track, hits Jerry Jones's truck. That's 31 points in a trip to the pole round for Kid Zach. And up next we have Sawyer going up against Gale Force. Gale Force the winner at this track last year. And that's an easy victory for Gale as Sawyer ends up on his roof. And now we have Jay Bow going up against Thomas Elliott. They're side by side heading into the turns. Thomas Elliott, Binzett, and Jay Bow moves on to the round of 24. Thomas Elliott on his roof. Terrible starting spot for him. And now we have Baby Richie going up against Sonic. They're side by side heading into the turn. And Baby Richie reverse side draft Sonic to punch his ticket to the round of 24. And now let's see what his teammate Riot Isaac can do. He's got a car length lead over Jim Douglas and the legendary Love Bug. Jim Douglas flies off the track. And we got another double DNF as Riot Isaac gets caught on the guardrail. And now we have Ted Musgrave going up against Kid Charlemagne. And Ted Musgrave is grinding against the split track. And that leaves it wide open for Kid Charlemagne to run away as the... Sorry for the sloppy camera work there. I'm trying to see what happened to Ted Musgrave. He's still on his wheels, but still eliminated from pole contention. And now we have Zard going up against Trick Dickel. I know I said Dick Trickle earlier. It's not actually Dick Trickle. It's Trick Dickel. He drives for Dog Squab Racing. And he just lost, so it's going to be Zard moving to the round of 24. And it looks like Zard's teammate, Johnny Benson. Nope, never mind. He's not going to make it across the finish line. It's going to be Gale moving on to the round of 24. And now we have a pair of highly accomplished owner drivers, Po Boy and Puff, going at it. Po Boy with a car length lead heading into turn number 1. Puff gets a little squirrely on the outside lane, and it's going to be Po Boy moving on. Now let's see if Rotha can upset Gator McCluskey. They are side by side heading towards the bottom of the split track. And Rotha almost bins it, recovers, but not enough time to catch back up to Gator McCluskey. Gator will be moving on to the round of 24. And now we have John Trent going up against Lucky Jackson. And it looks like Lucky Jackson's luck has run out. He's on his roof. One more El Reco to close out the round of 48. And now we have Jimbo Rockford and Crazy Ruby, the 2 highest seeded drivers, to finish second and still finish the lap in the round of 48. Jimbo Rockford's going up against Amber Beach in the round of 24. And this time he's not going to be so lucky. He slides on his side, doesn't finish the lap. Amber Beach will be going on to the round of 12. And now we have the 2 stock car castings. Crazy Ruby versus Misty G, and it's Misty G with the advantage as Crazy Ruby drives off the track. Barely misses the Jerrymobile. I wonder if she tried to hit him on purpose. I'm not sure. Now we have Coffee Tart going up against J-Bo. Both of them veterans of the Nitro Series, still looking for their first career win on the channel. And this time it's J-Bo on his roof and out of the race. Coffee Tart also slides before the finish line. That is a double DNF. The highest seeded driver to finish second in one of these races gets moved back into the round of 12. And Kid Charlemagne's Cinderella run in the qualifying ends here. He's on his roof off the track, which leaves us in the next round, Atomic Bob and John Trent. The gates are down, and John Trent actually with a half a car length lead heading into the turn. Can he keep it? No, he cannot. He gets up on his wheels. DNFs as Atomic Bob sails smoothly across the line and punches his ticket into the round of 12. And now we have Gator McCluskey on the outside going up against Bobby Allison. And Bobby Allison on the inside with the advantage. Gator McCluskey's not giving up. Overdrives it in the turn, slides a bit. It's going to be Bobby Allison moving on to the round of 12. And now let's see if Po Boy or Gaz is going to take this one. Both of these guys had great seasons in 2025. Lots of podiums, but Po Boy still looking for that first win. And I'm not sure who got it there. We got to slow that down. Here we have the official replay. Gazza goes to throw a block on Po Boy. Po Boy tries to push through Gazza, gets sideways, and Po Boy sees an opening on the inside but runs out of real estate. It's going to be Gazza moving on to the round of 12 by just a bumper lane. And now we have Bishop Petty Jr. going up against Gale, and the gates are down. Bishop Petty flies away with it as Gale tries to make a run for the Jerrymobile but misses. That gamble doesn't pay off for Gale. Let's see what Rath is going to do on the outside lane. He's going up against Deuce Andretti. The gates are down. Look at that start. Deuce Andretti gets half a car length before they even reach the bottom of the split track. Rotha stays on his wheels, but does not have the speed to match Deuce. who's been a great performer in all the split track situations so far this year. Sometimes your Speed Weeks rating can be deceiving, but one Speed Weeks rating that's not deceiving is that of Burt Buzzard. 4 career Nitro Series wins, beats Baby Richie on speed. He should be a favorite to look out for in the round of 12 and beyond. Now we have Lucas Sattler Jr. going up against the defending winner of this race, Gale Force. They both get a little squirrely, but it's going to be Lucas that has the upper hand. And now we have a rare sight, Burt Buzzard in the outer lane. This time he's going up against Remy 12 gauge, and he has a slight advantage heading into the turn, but both of them bin it. Remy 12 gauge on his roof. Burt Buzzard leaves the track. That is a double DNF. Now we have 2 of the high seeds that finish the lap in second place, moving on to the round of 12. And the first of those drivers is going to be Gale Force. Gets a second chance, but she's got to go through Amber Beach on the inside. Amber Beach once again running away from Gale Force. Gale gets a little bit of momentum, tries to catch up, but it's too little too late. Amber moves on to the final round of 6. And now we have Misty G going up against Gator McCluskey, your second high-seeded driver to get a second chance in this round of 12, and Misty G wins that handily over Gator as Harry Hoon faces Lucas Sattler Jr. They are side by side almost heading into the turn. Lucas gets a little momentum there, tries to pull a bump and run on Harry, but it doesn't work. Harry Hoon will be moving on to the round of 6. Now we have Atomic Bob going up against Skeeter Davis. Skeeter Davis beaten at the start gate by Atomic Bob. Does he have anything for him? Skeeter on the guardrail gets a little bit too aggressive and upset. Skeeter Davis is out. Atomic Bob moves on to the round of 6. And now we have Bobby Allison going up against Deuce Andretti. Bobby Allison with the advantage in the inner lane. Gets on 2 wheels for a brief moment there, but recovered. And he's going to be moving on to the round of 6 alongside either Gaza or Bishop Petty Jr. Gaza with a car length lead heading towards the bottom of the split track. Bishop Petty trying to catch up, but he bins it. Bishop Petty tumbling into the outfield. Tags the Jerrymobile. He'll be moving on to the pole round. That's right, we're going to have 2 rounds of 6 because we actually have a bunch of extra guys. 3 drivers altogether tag the Jerrymobile so far. And the winner of these 3 races will face the guys that hit the Jerrymobile for the pole position. And now for the first race of the first round of 6, we have Amber Beach going up against Gaza. Amber Beach, one of the fastest cars I've ever seen on this channel, moving far away from Gaza, who won 2 races last year. Amber Beach, of course, won the Daytona 500 in her Nitro Series debut last week. And now we have Misty G still looking for that first career win, going up against Bobby Allison, who's in that same boat. Both of them have had a ton of top 5 finishes last season. And the gates are down. Misty G with a car length lead over Bobby Allison. Navigates the turn flawlessly while Bobby Allison bins it. Somehow recovers, but then flips over again. It's going to be Misty G sailing smoothly into the next round of 6. And let's see if Atomic Bob or Harry Hoon can take that final spot. These 2 guys quickly forming a bit of a rivalry. They were beating and banging on each other all throughout the main event in the Daytona 500. For that last podium spot, Harry Hoon got it, finished 3rd, Atomic Bob in 4th last week. And this time it's Harry Hoon once again with the upper hand. 3 car length lead heading into the split turn. Harry Hoon navigates it flawlessly. Atomic Bob gets a little bit too aggressive, loses some speed coming out of that turn. Harry Hoon will be moving on to the round of 6. But first, Amber Beach in the second round of 6 going up against Karate Joe. And Karate Joe is dead in the water here. Before they even get off the start gate extensions, Harry Hoon already has a car length lead, and he's expanding it every second they roll down the track. Harry Hoon with a track segment plus lead heading into the split turn. She's going to take it handily over Karate Joe heading into the round of 3. Karate Joe does finish the lap, although it's half the track length behind. And now we have Kid Zach going up against Misty G. Misty G, once again, a car length lead just right out of the gate. 2 car lengths lead before they even get to the bottom of the split track. Still great starting spots for Karate Joe and Kid Zach. He's waiting for a miracle to see if Misty G makes a mistake here. She won't. She's got a straight shot to the round of 3, the round robin to get the pole position. And this is going to be a little more challenging. Bishop Petty Jr. going up against Harry Hoon. Either one of these guys can take it. And it's Bishop Petty that gets the jump this time. He's got the full car length lead over Harry. He's expanding his lead. Almost a track segment before they even get to the bottom of the split track. Harry Hoon praying for a miracle here, and he gets it. Bishop Petty Jr. bins it on the straightaway before he even hits the split turn. Harry Hoon will be moving on to the round robin, where he's going to face off against Amber Beach. in the first round. Now the gates are down. Amber Beach already with a car length lead by the time they get off the start gate. And it's growing and growing. Amber Beach all the way up to a track segment by the time they get to the bottom of the split track. She is running away with this first race, and Harry Hoon loses control. Amber Beach with a great advantage heading into race number 2 for the pole position. Harry Hoon regains his composure and finishes the lap almost a whole track length, not a track segment, track length behind Amber Beach. Now the gates are down. He's got to go up against Misty G. Misty G and Harry Hoon still side by side heading towards the bottom of the split track. Misty G with a slight advantage heading into the turn. She's going to use that to her advantage, and Harry Hoon is going to fly off the track, somersault 1-2 times before landing on his side. And we have almost a double DNF by Misty G, but she slides off the guardrail past the finish line at the last second. That double DNF would have handed Amber Beach the pole right off the bat. Now they're 1-1. Amber Beach going up against Misty G. The winner of this race gets the pole position. Amber Beach with a 2-car length lead heading into turn number 1. Misty G catching up, but then she bins it and goes off the track. She ends up on her roof. Amber Beach wins the pole as Misty G and Harry Hoon get too aggressive trying to fight for it. Congratulations, Daytona 500 winner Amber Beach, on winning the pole position. She's clearly had the best car in all facets of racing so far this season. She will be tough to beat come race day. And now we're going to kick off our B Series race. On the pole is the 24 of JJ Smooth for Puffs Racing. Next to him, Slick Fitty for Stupid Fish Racing. Behind them in second and third is Murray and Skid Mark, followed by Blaze Thunderstruck, Cyan, Tristan, Flip Gambino, Ski Bob, and Yorn. And the gates are down for lap number 1 of the Nitro B Series race. And Slick Fitty with a huge lead coming off of the outside holds off JJ Smooth to lead lap number 1 and cautions out for an El Reco. We got a double DNF on lap 1. Flip Gambino and Skid Mark live up to their names, slipping and skidding off of the track. And we've actually got a triple DNF. That's Ski Bob on his roof and out of the race as well. At least he stays on the track there, but that is still a DNF. We're down from 10 to 7 cars after just 1 lap of competition. Murray up to second. JJ Smooth trying to retake it with that extra pusher. The gates are down. JJ Smooth and Slick Fitty running away from everybody else. We have no DNFs this lap. Slick Fitty running away with this segment so far. He's led both laps, and now they're lined up for the final lap. Slick Fitty and JJ Smooth on the front row, heading into the final lap. And look at this, the gates are down. Tristan Racewelski did nothing all segment. Moves up to third, cautions out for an El Reco. It's Slick Fitty coming out of turn 3. Slick Fitty bins it, cost himself a trip to the main event. Tristan Racewelski moves on to the main event and a chance at getting into the big race. And now it's time for segment number 2. And on the front row for segment number 2, we have Nomeo on the pole next to Gray for Sloppy Bear Racing. Gray's teammate Ruby in the number 20. Next to her is Fuel Tank Frank, Aluka Yode Osasanya, and his son Aluka Yode Osasanya Jr. make up the third row, followed by Violet, Rory, Sterling Marlin, and Elias. The gates are down. Looks like Elias has some mechanical issues to inspect that car after the race. Cautions out El Reco. Nomeo leads that lap, and a couple of cars on the outside leave the track. I think positions 1 through 5 are going to be on the inside. 6 through 10 are going to be on the outside for the big race, knowing that that's a huge disadvantage being in the outside lane like that. That's a quadruple DNF. Sterling Marlin on his side, Rory and Osasanya Jr. both on their wheels. We got 3 DNFs on the track. And that's Gray, Osasanya, and Violet. Horrible day for Sloppy Bear Racing. They're on their sides on the track. They binned it from the inside. Let's see if Nomeo and Fuel Tank Frank can avoid that same fate here for lap number 2. And it's a clean lap so far. Nomeo and Ruby, not to be confused with Crazy Ruby, running away from everybody else. Fuel Tank Frank back up to third. Now heading into the final lap, still 6 cars. Is it going to be Nomeo, Ruby, Fuel Tank Frank, or somebody else? The gates are down. Nomeo and Ruby running away from the rest of the field, heading into the split turn. They're side by side. Nomeo throws a reverse side draft, and Ruby tries to make a move. Aluka Yode Osasanya Jr. might have actually ended up getting second place. We got to take a closer look at that. And here is the official replay. Heading into the fat turn, they are side by side, and you can see the reverse side draft by Nomeo, but Ruby doesn't give up. Tries to make a move for the lead, and that leaves the outside open for Aluka Yode Osasanya Jr. to come in and barely snipe second place away by just 1 millimeter. What an incredible lap of racing. And now let's see if the third and final segment has that much excitement as well. And on the front row for this final segment, we have Sloppy Bear. Next to him, Cooter Smith for Stupid Fish Racing, Twinkie Jake and Racer Gnome. Behind them, Sparky Racer and Skidis Marcus. Carl Recco racing in his first Nitro season since 1991. Stacy Compton, Russ, and the #1 overall seed, Cowell Petty. The gates are down. Look at Sloppy Bear running away from the rest of the field as a couple of cars on the outside get tossed off the track. Caution's out for another big one. This time it's another quadruple DNF. 2 cars off the track and on the roofs. 2 more Bennett on the inside. It's an absolute disaster out there. Looks like Cowell Petty just barely misses the Jerrymobile. He would have gotten into the main event if his car would have slid just another millimeter or 2. Also on the roofs and not racing in the big race this week are Skidis Marcus, Twinkie Jake, and Russ. And now the gates are down for lap number 2. And look at that push the inside gets from Sparky Racer and Racer Gnome. Those are 2 heavy cars. And Sloppy Bear and Sparky Racer drafting across the finish line. They're going to be side by side heading into the final lap. Does Racer Gnome have anything for him? Or Carl Recco or Cooter Smith? Can one of them take it by surprise? Does not look likely. Sloppy Bear has a great jump off the start. He's running away with it now. Car length lead plus, and it's going to be Racer Gnome at the line. No, it's still Sloppy Bear. Sloppy Bear wins the final segment. What an exciting final lap of segment racing. As you can see in this official replay, bunching up at the line, Racer Gnome trying to make a move for the lead on Sloppy Bear, but he runs out of real estate. Sloppy Bear gets a late push from Sparky Racer there trying to make a move for second place. What an awesome end to the segment racing here in the Texas B Series race. And now we're here for the 6th race, and so far Rory's running away with it, away from Stacy Compton. Rory navigates the turn easily, flies away from Stacy Compton, and Yorn punches his ticket into the 5th race, where he's going to join Cyan on the pole. Next to her is Carl Recco. Elias for Uncle Elvis Racing starting in 3rd, and the gates are down for the 5th race. Cyan gets a great push from Elias, but Elias loses some speed. He's definitely got something wrong with his car there. He'll be fixed before the next race. Carl Recco trying to make a move for the lead, but Cyan throws a block, stays in 1st place at the end of the lap as everybody comes to a stall. And it's going to be Cyan moving on to the 4th race. And she's got her work cut out for him because that's Cooter Smith on the front row. He's looked pretty fast today. Definitely had a better car than 4th place in his segment, and he's flying away from the rest of the field. Cooter Smith running away from the Lear Fixer teammates and Cyan. Who's going to get second there? I think it was Cyan at the end. She'll be credited with 11th place, Murray 12th. And now it's time for your 3rd race. The gates are down, and it's JJ Smooth running away with it by over a car length. They navigate the split turn. JJ Smooth increases his lead. He gets a little squirrely, and Ruby tries to make a move for the lead, but it's going to be JJ Smooth moving on to the 2nd race. Now the 2nd race will be 2 laps long, and starting on the front row is Racer Gnome and Blaze Thunderstruck. And now the gates are down. It's Racer Gnome. He's going to be pretty hard to catch. Already a car length lead ahead of everybody else heading out of the split turn. And Racer Gnome leads the first lap and cautions out El Recco. JJ Smooth bins it. That'll wrap up 8th place for him. Meanwhile, the gates are on. Look at that push by Oluka Yode Osisanya. That pushes Racer Gnome to an insurmountable lead. As long as they get through these turns without flipping over, it's going to be Racer Gnome that wins. Or not, he slides to the side. Racer Gnome throws a block as he crosses the finish line. He's going to move on to the main event, where he's going to join his teammate Nomeo, who's sitting on the pole. Next to him, Sloppy Bear and Tristan Racewelski starting 3rd. The gates are down for lap 1 of the main event. Sloppy Bear goes flying into the outfield as Nomeo leads lap number 1. Tristan Racewelski bearing down on him, doesn't have enough time to make the pass. Nomeo in control of this main event so far. Now it's time for lap number 2. He's got his teammate drafting behind him, and they're pulling away from the outside row. Nomeo and Racer Gnome tandem drafting on the inside, smooth as butter through the split turn. They're going to lead the field down to green for the final lap of your Nitro B Series race here at Texas Motor Speedway. Only the top 2 finishers can get into the big race, and looks like it's going to be Nomeo flying away from the rest of the field. And look at that jump start. Tristan Racewelski gets from the 2nd row. He tries to make a move for the lead, decides to play it safe. Nomeo and Tristan Racewelski move on to the Chiefs and Cowboys Suck 400 at spots 49 and 50. Racer Gnome gets the 3rd and final podium spot. A great day for Racer Gnome Racing. 2 of his cars on the podium. Congratulations on your very first win on this channel. And Tristan Racewelski on the podium again, still looking for that first career W. What an exciting, action-packed B-Series race it was. I cannot wait for the big race. That outside lane was absolutely brutal. Spots 1 through 5 are going to be lined up on the inside for the big race. 6 through 10 on the outside. We're going to look to keep the columns even as possible. So when there's 8 cars, it'll be 4 and 4. But that outside is quite a bit of a disadvantage. So let me know what you think about that in the comment section. And here we have the official race results. Nomeo, Tristan Racewelski, and Racer Gnome, both are Racer Gnome's cars, get onto the podium here. Congratulations. Sloppy Bear and Oluka Yode Osisanya Jr. round out your top 5. Blaze Thunderstruck in his channel debut, JJ Smooth, Ruby, not to be confused with Crazy Ruby, Cooter Smith, and Sparky Racer round out your top 10. Cyan Murray, Fuel Tank Frank, Carl Recco, and Rory make up your top 15. Yorn and Stacy Compton, your last finishers. Slick Fitty, your highest finishing El Recco. That makes 12 DNFs altogether out of 30 cars. The guys at the HSL Junkyard are loving it. All of that scrap metal to process. Cowell Petty, your number 1 seed in Speed Weeks, gets last place in the B-Series race. He is absolutely going to be buried in the points. And a bad day for Flip Gambino, too. He got a top 10 in the Daytona 500. He's going to miss the race here at Texas. And Sterling Marlin, with his first lap DNF at Daytona, will be near the bottom of the total points. And speaking of points, here are your B-Series point standings after 2 races. Nomeo with a 35-point lead over Tristan Racewelski. JJ Smooth moves up to 3rd with his top 10 finish. Racer Gnome and Murray round out your top 5 in points, while Cooter Smith, Russ, Sloppy Bear, Ruby, and Skidis Marcus round out the top 10 in points. Sloppy Bear with a 4th place finish today. Great job for him. I believe Sloppy Bear, he moved up 18 spots in the standings. Carl Recco, Ski Bob, Cyan, Sparky Racer, and Twinkie Jake round out your top 15 for the B-Series. Oluka Yode Osisanya Jr., a surprising top 5 there, has him tied with Bubba Wallace for 25th. Blaze Thunderstruck no longer with negative points. And here is the rest of your point standings. Most of these guys either had a qualifying DNF or qualified for one of the 2 big races. Cowell Petty in last place in points, 38th, and it's actually in his best interest, considering his seeding, that he actually stays there the rest of the season by qualifying for the remaining 13 races. And let's talk about Blaze Thunderstruck a little bit. I was informed after filming this, but before I was able to do any video editing, that Union Racing is withdrawing from the series to sort out some build quality issues, as Yorn's car arrived in the mail in pieces and Blaze Thunderstruck's car broke during Speed Weeks. And also, Lord Shank is sending a new car for Ski Bob because he wasn't very happy with Ski Bob's performance in the last B-Series race. So that leaves an odd number of cars. I'll be using a Pack Fresh stock as the number 91 seed. The Owlman will be the driver, at least for the next race, which is going to be held at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. A whole new road course layout that I just designed. It's pretty cool looking. I can't wait to show it to you guys. And I'll even open the pack on air so you see that it's a fresh pack stock. It'll be the first of the 4-race Road Course World Cup Gauntlet. Kind of a mini in-season tournament with the 4 road course races. Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Watkins Glen, Sonoma, and Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, where the top 12 finishers in each race get Mario Kart style points, and the prizes are a couple of extra prize cars, as well as the Mario Kart points you earn being added to your points total after the race in Mexico City. And that means every other race through week 9 is going to be one of these road course races. And if you haven't sent your cars in yet, you're still never too late to send cars in to see your cars race on my channel. There's still 12 races left for me to film, 11 B-Series races, and 9 qualifying heats. So your cars will still get plenty of camera time. And In-Laws Racing started as a mid-season entry last season. They won the Coca-Cola 600 last year in the stock division and got a couple of top 10s in modified races as well. If you're unhappy with one of your cars, like Lord Shank is with Ski Bob, send your cars to HSL Diecast, P.O. Box 7, Wind Gap, Pennsylvania 18091. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you out there on the track.